You're listening to Soundside. I'm Paige Browning, in for Libby Dankman. Another one of Seattle's iconic movie theaters has been sold. This time, the Boeing IMAX Theater. The theater's 6-story tall and 80-foot wide screen has endeared itself to local moviegoers since it opened nearly 30 years ago. Pacific Science Center sent out an email confirming they are selling the Boeing IMAX and a parcel of land equaling nearly a quarter of its footprint at Seattle Center. The buyer is a familiar neighbor, the Space Needle. And Space Needle leaders said through a statement they intend to keep operating the theater. To find out more, we've got Chase Hutchinson in the house. Chase is a freelance writer and film critic based in Western Washington, and he wrote about the sale in The Stranger last week. Hey, Chase, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Glad to talk to you as always. So just to start us off, not everyone has been to the IMAX at the Pacific Science Center, but for many movie lovers, this kind of holds a special place in their heart. It is a special theater in Seattle. Describe the theater for us and what makes it so well loved.
It's a massive space. The scale, the size, the kind of majesty of it is unlike anything in the region. There's no IMAX theater that's like it. It's considered the true IMAX theater. You go down this long kind of winding path. It's a very exciting place to be in for movie lovers. When they're the big summer movies, these are the ones that you want to see in this specific space.
And when you say the region, you mean in Seattle there's nothing like it?
There are other IMAX theaters, but none of this scale, none of this kind of size. People will make trips up to Vancouver, but not everybody, I would say, is probably willing to go that far. This is a special place and unlike anything in Seattle, in Washington.
And as you've noted, the theater itself has a huge screen, which gives this immersive movie-going experience. The Boeing IMAX Theater can show movies in ways that others cannot. For example, the theater played the Oscar-nominated movie Sinners at the aspect ratio that the director Ryan Coogler intended, which many could not do. Now, I know not everyone's a film buff or cares about the aspect ratios, but for some, it's magical. What is the value of having a theater like this in our city?
Well, you're 100% correct. This was one of the few places in the country where you could see Sinners as Ryan Coogler intended.
In the country?
And not everyone is a film nerd, but the moment in Sinners where the aspect ratio expands out, I won't spoil these moments, but they're pretty big moments where you lean forward. It draws you in. And I think it represents something special in terms of theaters have seen a rough go of it, both in Seattle and around the country, and places that continue to be must-attends or sort of still invest in that theatrical experience. That's what a lot of folks I talk to feel like can be the future, that even as some theaters are struggling, the ones that truly distinguish themselves and say, you are going to see and experience and feel something that you can't anywhere else, that's what feels special about it to many people that I talk to.
Did you get to see Sinners there?
I did not get to see Sinners
Now
there.
I'm wishing that I did.
I know. And I'm hopeful that maybe in the future, especially if Sinners were to win a bunch of Oscars, that would be a great way to reopen the theater come May. But there's a lot of open questions about what that future will hold.
Okay, let's talk about that future a little bit. They announced they're selling. Why did Pacific Science Center sell this theater?
It's hard to operate a theater in 2026. It's hard to have that be something financially feasible. We've seen that across the region, that the Varsity nearby here has closed. SIF no longer has the lease at the Egyptian.
I know.
The Grand Illusion is still searching for a new home and doing wonderful pop-up screenings, but again, still trying to find something more permanent. They have said this was an attempt to right-size operations, and that the cost of that was having to sell off the Boeing IMAX.
And what does it mean right now? Is the theater effectively closed?
It is closed until at least May. That's what I've been told. I reached out again yesterday to the Space Needle Corporation to get a little bit more clarity about what the future holds, because they've said they want to continue it as an IMAX experience. But I've been trying to get some clarity on if that includes first-run films, if that includes your Sinners, if that includes the upcoming Christopher Nolan film, The Odyssey, and there hasn't been a commitment on that. And the sources I've spoken to, That's a point of concern. They really wouldn't want to see this become something that doesn't have that component as part of their programming.
So it sounds like we still have questions about what's the Space Needle Corporation going to do with the theater. What have they said they will do?
They've said again that it's going to be an IMAX experience and that they continue it as IMAX.
Okay.
But that's a very broad thing, and that's what I've been hopefully trying to get more clarity on and what I'm going to be keeping an eye on in the weeks and months ahead.
And the public, too.
Yes.
Business dealings aside, what does it mean for the movie-going audience here in Seattle?
It means currently there's not going to be, for films like Project Hail Mary, which is the Ryan Gosling sci-fi movie. That's a big IMAX event.
Just saw a trailer for it in theaters last night.
I would say be careful about watching too many trailers because it gives a lot of it away. But that has local ties from the filmmakers and is considered a big event. It's an open question as to whether the new Christopher Nolan film, who made Oppenheimer previously, that became a massive event, whether they'll be able to see the Odyssey. There is the Packard that's across the way from the Boeing IMAX. And I recently went and saw this film Scarlet there, which is a gender-swapped animated reimagining of Hamlet, where the protagonist battles her way out of hell.
Wow.
It's a pretty fun time and was great to see it there, but it still is much smaller in scale and, again, in scope and in an impact.
What are you going to be watching for as this story moves forward? You know, obviously we're wondering exactly what is the IMAX experience that the Space Needle is going to offer when they reopen it. But what else are you looking for?
I think it's going to be how people respond to that. The sources I've talked to have been very concerned and nervous that whatever that IMAX experience might be less of the programming that draws people out, that makes it to be this must-attend event. And if that is not something available, where can people go? Where will they go? Will people make that trip to Vancouver for the type of Odyssey? Will there be an Odyssey to see the Odyssey? These are kind of the questions that I'm looking at in terms of the impact on film-loving folks in Seattle and on the film community in Seattle. Because there are still great theaters all in the region.
Yep.
But this space has a special place for many people, which is why the folks I've been talking to are trying to really say, we want to know what the future will be. And so I'll be keeping an eye on that with them as well.
Yeah. The lingering question, will there be an Odyssey to see the Odyssey?
Yes.
We're having to go up to Vancouver, BC. Oh, let me end with, where should people go to see Project Hail Mary in March?
I would say there's many great theaters. The downtown is still a theater that people enjoy going to. It's formerly the Cinerama, the SIF downtown.
Oh, yeah, SIF downtown.
That still is a massive space. I've seen really remarkable films there that really knock you flat. I saw Train Dreams there. I saw The Brutalist there. A little bit different than your Project Hail Marys, but still ones that do capture kind of this magical feeling. The theatrical experience is not dead in Seattle. I want to be clear about that. It is still alive. Alive and well, that's kind of the question, is this has been a tough run of months and years for theaters, but there are still those places to go. I would say any place that you can support, any place that you can go that's your local theater, you should try and do so, because it's unlike anything else that you'll be able to experience at home. It's just a question of degrees and sound and picture. Those are all kind of going to vary from place to place.
Yeah. Okay, questions linger, so we'll bring you back when we know more. Chase Hutchinson is a writer who covers all things movies here in Western Washington. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for listening to Soundside. Don't forget you can listen live on KUOW 94.9 FM Seattle at noon and 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday, or anytime online at KUOW.org or on your favorite podcast app.